My son, Michael, looked at me with pity in his eyes as the moving truck pulled away from the house I had lived in. For 50 years, he thought he had one. He had no idea what was hidden inside the one piece of junk he let me keep. He squeezed my shoulder, a gesture that was meant to be comforting but felt possessive. "It's for the best, Mom," he said, his voice smooth and reassuring. "You'll be so much happier in the new apartment. No stairs, no yard work. We'll take care of everything." His wife, Jessica, stood beside him, her smile tight and bright. She looked at her watch. She was already late for her next appointment, the next part of her busy, important life. A life I was apparently no longer a part of. I just nodded, pulling my thin cardigan tighter around myself, a frail old woman being put out to pasture. That's what they saw. And for a little while, it's what I saw too. It had all started 6 months after my husband, Frank, passed away. The grief was a thick fog I couldn't seem to navigate. The house, the one Frank had built with his own hands, felt cavernous and empty. Every room held a memory. Every creak in the floorboards was a ghost. Michael and Jessica started visiting more often, bringing groceries, fussing over me. At first, I was grateful. I saw it as the love of a concerned son. "Mom, this house is too much for you," Michael would say, his brow furrowed with practiced concern. "The property taxes, the upkeep, it's a burden." Jessica and I found a wonderful senior living apartment. It's secure, all on one level. "It's perfect," Jessica would chime in, her voice like honey. "And we'll handle the sale of the house for you. We'll put the money in a special account, just for you. Manage it so you never have to worry about a thing for the rest of your life." I resisted at first, but your father loved this house, I'd say, my voice weak. "He built it, and he would want you to be safe and comfortable, Mom," Michael would counter, his logic unassailable. "They wore me down. They painted a picture of a lonely, vulnerable old woman at risk in a big, empty house. They made their plan sound like my salvation. So, I agreed. I trusted my only son. That was my first mistake. The moving day was a blur of strangers in uniforms wrapping my life in paper and boxing it away. I felt like a ghost in my own home, watching as 50 years of memories were dismantled piece by piece. Jessica directed the movers with brisk efficiency, a clipboard in her hand. "That can go," she'd say, pointing at a piece of furniture. "Charity for that one. And this, just throw it out." She pointed at the old grandfather clock that stood in the corner of the living room. It was Frank's last project. He'd found it at a flea market, a beautiful but broken thing, and had spent the final year of his life tinkering with it in his workshop. He never quite got it working again. The wood was dark and scarred, the glass face cloudy. "Oh, Jessica, no," I said, a sudden surge of protectiveness rising in me. "Your father, he loved that clock. I'd like to keep it." Jessica rolled her eyes, a flash of annoyance crossing her face before being replaced by her patient smile. "Mom, it's so old-fashioned. It doesn't even work. It'll just clutter up the new apartment. Please," I insisted. "It's all I'm asking for." Michael sighed. "Let her have the clock, Jess, if it makes her happy." They saw it as a sentimental old woman clinging to a piece of junk. They had no idea it was the most valuable thing in the entire house. The new apartment was clean, white, and sterile. It smelled like paint and disinfectant. It was a showbox with a view of a parking lot. There was no garden, no workshop, no soul. It wasn't a home. It was a waiting room. The grandfather clock was delivered and placed awkwardly against a wall, looking as out of place as I felt. In the first few weeks, Michael and Jessica were attentive. They helped me unpack the few boxes they'd allowed me to bring. They set up my bills. They told me the house had sold quickly, for a very good price. "The money is safe, Mom," Michael assured me. "We'll give you a monthly stipend for your expenses. You just relax." And then, the calls became less frequent. The visits dwindled. When I'd ask about the account, Michael would be vague. "It's all invested, Mom. Growing for you. Don't you worry your pretty little head about it." The condescension in his voice was a tiny, sharp needle. I was lonely. I started spending my days online, trying to feel connected to the world. That's when I saw it. A picture on Jessica's social media page. She was posing next to a brand new, gleaming red sports car. The caption read, "A little treat for all our hard work. #blessed #new beginnings." Hard work. A cold knot formed in my stomach. I knew they were comfortable, but this was a level of extravagance I hadn't seen before. A few days later, I called Michael to ask if he could come fix my leaky faucet. He sounded distracted, annoyed. "I'm in the middle of a big meeting, Mom. It's for the new business. I'll try to get there later." "New business?" I asked. "Oh, just a little something Jess and I are starting up. A boutique investment firm. Don't worry. It's a sure thing." A sure thing. My husband Frank used to say the only sure thing in life was that a liar never changes his spots. The final piece of the puzzle fell into place a week later. It was my grandson's birthday, and I had wear upon him a sweater. I decided to drop it off at their house, unannounced. I let myself in through the back gate, the way I always used to. As I approached the kitchen door, I heard voices, angry voices. It was Michael and Jessica, arguing. I froze, my hand on the doorknob. "Did you get the final papers signed?" Jessica was hissing. Her voice was sharp, metallic. "The investors need the capital infusion by Friday. Your mother's money is our only way in. If we don't have it, the whole deal collapses." My blood ran cold. "My money." "Relax." Michael's voice was strained. "The buyer's final payment for the house clears tomorrow. It's all timed perfectly. I told you it would work. She's a sentimental old fool. She'll never check the accounts. She probably thinks her stipend is just interest from a savings account." Jessica laughed, a short, ugly sound. "Let's hope so. I can't wait to be out from under the thumb of this town, and her." I backed away slowly, my heart a leaden weight in my chest. I felt sick. It wasn't just neglect. It wasn't just bad management. It was a plan. A cold, calculated plan to steal my home, my security, my future, all while pretending to be my loving, dutiful son. I went back to my sterile apartment, the hand whereupon sweater clutched in my fist. The betrayal was a physical pain, so sharp I could barely breathe. I sank into a chair and stared at the grandfather clock. It stood silent, its hands frozen at 3:15. Frank's words echoed in my mind, a whisper from a lifetime ago. "Everything I've built has a purpose, Clara, even the mistakes." My eyes scanned the old clock. It was beautiful, in a flawed, handmade way. Frank had been a master carpenter, but he was a tinkerer at heart. He loved puzzles, secrets. As I looked, I remembered something he'd said while working on it. Frustrated. "This blasted side panel. I can never get it to sit quite right. It's like there's a secret to it I'm missing." The side panel. I ran my hand along the carved wood on the right side of the clock. It was smooth, seamless. But then, my fingers brushed against a tiny imperfection in the scrollwork. A small wooden knot that seemed just slightly raised. I pressed it. Nothing. I pressed it again. Harder. I heard a faint, wooden click. My breath caught in my throat. I pushed gently on the panel below the knot, and it swung inward on a hidden hinge, revealing a dark, hollow space inside the clock's body. My hands trembled as I reached inside. My fingers closed around a thick, leather-bound folder. I pulled it out and set it on the small dining table. With shaking hands, I opened it. Inside, my world tilted on its axis. The first document was the original deed to our house. The real one, on thick, watermarked paper, dated from 50 years ago. I remembered Frank telling me a story once, years ago, about how he lost the original deed and had to go through a long legal process to have a new one issued by the county. He had complained about the bureaucracy for weeks. It wasn't a story. It was a lie, a brilliant, protective lie. He had created a legal fiction, a newer, official deed in the digital system, while secretly keeping the original, overriding one. Beneath the deed was a ledger. Frank's neat, precise handwriting filled the pages. It was a detailed record of every dollar Michael had borrowed from them over the past 15 years. The down payment for his first car, the student loans he never paid back, the money to start 3 different failed businesses. The total was staggering. It was a chronicle of my blindness and my husband's silent, watchful accounting. And at the bottom of the folder, there was a letter addressed to me. My dearest Clara, if you are reading this, it means I am gone, and your heart is broken. I am so sorry I am not there to hold your hand through it, but I am also afraid it means our son has finally let his ambition get the better of his love. I have seen the greed in him, a shadow that has grown over the years. I hoped I was wrong. I hoped your love would be enough to guide him. But a good carpenter always builds in a fail-safe. This clock is our fortress. They will see it as junk, a sentimental trinket. They will let you keep it. And inside, you will find the truth. The original deed to our home. It is yours and yours alone. The new deed on file with the county is legal, but this one, the original, supersedes it. It will create a legal nightmare for anyone who tries to sell the house. Without your explicit, original signature, they will not have it. I have also left you the ledger. I am sorry for every time I did not speak up when Michael asked for money. I did not want to cause a fight between you and your son. That was my weakness. But I kept a record, not to punish him, but to protect you, to show you a pattern I was too cowardly to confront. Take these to our old friend, Arthur Harrison. He is a good man. He will know what to do. This house is your home. It is the heart of our family. Do not let them take it from you. You are stronger than you think. You were always my foundation. All my love, forever, Frank. I wept, not with grief or betrayal, but with a profound, aching love for the man I had lost. He had seen it all. He had known, and he had built me an ark, a secret weapon disguised as a piece of old furniture. He had left me a plan. He had left me his strength. The next morning, I called Mr. Harrison. I explained everything. The outrage in his voice was a balm to my soul. That boy, he growled. Frank always worried. Clara, you listen to me. We are going to let them walk right up to the edge of the cliff. We will let them think they have won. And at the last possible moment, we will pull the rug out from under them so hard they won't know which way is up. The plan was simple. Mr. Harrison would file a title claim on the property using the original deed, but he would file it with the county clerk's office on the morning of the closing. It would trigger a legal hold on the sale so late in the process that the financial consequences for Michael would be catastrophic. For the next week, I played the part of the meek, oblivious mother. I answered Michael's brief, condescending calls. I told him I was adjusting. He told me he was so busy with the new business, but that it was all going to pay off and he'd be able to take even better care of me soon. The lies were so easy for him now. They rolled off his tongue like water. The day of the closing arrived. I imagined them in a sleek, glass-walled lawyer's office. Michael, confident and triumphant. Jessica, preening, already spending the money in her head. The buyers, an eager young couple, ready to start their lives in my home. I pictured the champagne glasses, the polite laughter. I sat in my small, white apartment, the grandfather clock standing silent guard in the corner. I waited. Round 3 p.m., my phone rang. It was Michael, but his voice wasn't smooth or confident. It was high-pitched, panicked. "Mom, what did you do? What did you do?" I let a moment of silence hang in the air. "I'm not sure what you mean, dear," I said, my voice calm and steady. "The sale, it's been stopped. The lawyers are saying there's a title dispute, something about an old deed. It's impossible." "Oh, that?" I said, as if just remembering. "Yes." Frank left it for me. In the old clock. Silence. A stunned, shocked silence. Then, Jessica's voice screamed in the background. "The clock! That piece of junk! What have you done to us?" Michael yelled, his voice cracking. "We needed that money. Our investors. We're ruined. You needed my money, Michael." I corrected him gently. "The money from the house your father built. The house you tried to steal from me. I was managing it for you. For your own good." "Was it for my own good when you were planning to use it to fund your risky business? Was it for my own good when you called me a sentimental old fool who would never check the accounts?" The line went dead with another choked gasp. I knew he was on his way. An hour later, they burst through the door of my apartment. They hadn't even knocked. Michael's face was blotchy and red. Jessica's perfect makeup was streaked with tears of rage. "How could you?" Michael roared. "After everything we've done for you." Mr. Harrison, who had been sitting quietly in the armchair, stood up. He was a tall, imposing man, even in his old age. "That's quite enough, Michael," he said, his voice like gravel. "What you've done for her is called elder fraud and theft by deception. I have a ledger here, in your father's own hand, that might be of interest to the district attorney." He held up Frank's ledger. Jessica stared at it, her mouth opening and closing like a fish. Michael's rage collapsed into a pathetic plea. "Mom, please, you don't understand. We can fix this. Just sign the paper. Tell them it was a mistake." "Was it a mistake, Michael?" I asked, looking him straight in the eye for the first time without fear, without sadness, only with a quiet, unshakable strength. "Was it a mistake to lie to me, to steal from me? To plan on leaving your mother with just enough to be kept quiet?" He had no answer. He just stared at me, seeing me, truly seeing me for the first time in years. Not as a frail old woman, but as his father's wife. "You didn't see me as your mother," I said softly. "You saw me as an obstacle and a bank account. Your father saw this coming. He just loved you too much to stop you himself. He left it up to me. Please leave my apartment now." They left, not with a bang, but with a whimper. The sound of their empire, built on lies and my money, crumbling to dust. Months have passed. I moved back into my home. The silence is different now. It's not an empty silence. It's a peaceful one. I sold some of Frank's old tools and furniture, the things without a soul, and I have more than enough to live comfortably. The grandfather clock stands proudly in the hallway, its hands still frozen at 3:15. I've decided not to fix it. It serves its purpose perfectly as it is. I heard through a cousin that Michael and Jessica had to declare bankruptcy. The investors sued them. They lost everything and are now living in a small rental apartment across town. The very fate they had so carefully designed for me. Sometimes I stand in front of the clock and run my hand over the cool, dark wood. Frank was right. A good carpenter always has a plan. He built our house to keep us safe. And even after he was gone, he found a way to do it one last time. They thought I was a relic, a memory, a fragile thing to be managed and put away. They underestimated me. They forgot that the oldest trees have the deepest roots. My name is Clara, and I may be an old woman, but I am the foundation of this house, and I am not for sale.